So let's talk about Coppola's official first film, Dementia 13. Francis Ford Coppola had a few earlier films than that, which are, I guess, nudie cuties, as they call them. But these will not be considered, I guess, an official first film. I think that Dementia 13 is the best thing to refer to as his official debut film as a film director. I think he would agree. Anyway, the film was part of the cycle of low-budget shockers that were produced in the wake of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. But Dementia 13 is a surprisingly effective knockoff with unique qualities of its own. Now, the oft-told story is that Francis saw an opportunity to make his first official feature film while recording sound for Roger Corman's The Young Erasers, which was being shot on location in Ireland. He knew that Corman could never resist shooting a second film once on location, since the major costs of shipping actors, crew, and equipment had already been spent. So Coppola sat up late for 3 nights and banged out a script with just enough exploitation elements to receive Corman's financial blessing. With the cash in hand, Coppola dove headfirst into his first major production, a film which has as much to do with Psycho as it presages the work of Italian filmmakers in the giallo genre. Now, people always marvel at the fact that Coppola wrote the screenplay in 3 nights. Now, this is a focused man who once wrote a script called Pilma in a single night. Trying to get out of the draft by flunking his physical, Coppola fueled himself with cup after cup of black coffee and wrote a script that went on to win the UCLA's prestigious Samuel Goldwyn Award. Now, that may have been a good script, but Dementia 13 is clearly the work of a writer feverishly banging out pages over 3 days. Instead of Billy Wilder's goal of a screenplay that was a clockwork mechanism, this script was a patchwork mechanism. It's contrived, convoluted, and highly inconsistent in quality. It's also breathlessly spontaneous and desperately brilliant at times, erupting out of the mundane as though the man's mind was gasping for air trying to push the story along. The thing is, this script didn't have to be very good at all. What had to be good were the set pieces and the filmmaking, and luckily both are of very high quality. Coppola is in total command of the filmmaking from the very first scene, which is a rowboat ride on a lake in the blackest of nights. Now, one of the benefits of low-budget shooting was the lack of lights for many of the film's night scenes. All of this aids the film's atmosphere tremendously for appearing to be solid black. The touches of an inventive filmmaker are also already present. When a man's dead body is tossed overboard, so is his transistor radio, which continues to gargle rock and roll on its way to the bottom. The central murder sequence, basically the film's shower scene, is still one of the most atmospheric, poetic, and nightmarish horror set pieces ever photographed. It's derivative, but honestly scarier than anything in Psycho. When the conniving Louise, played by Luana Anders, strips down to her underwear to dive into a lake at night, Coppola designs this sequence for eroticism, poetic atmosphere, classic gothic creepiness, and the revelation of a double scare. Coppola's handling of the double scare is timed perfectly, shifting gears from the spooky to the shocking in just a few seconds. From the eerie image of a perfectly preserved dead little girl in an underwater grave memorial, to Louise meeting a violent and painful death by axe on the shore above, the moments go off like firecrackers. It must be added that Ronald Stein's very effective score and the photography of Charles Hannawalt contribute greatly to the film's overall effect. In fact, the film is so well made that it has withstood a public domain status which has condemned it to be seen in only the worst prints imaginable. I have never seen the film in any version that wasn't hit by a truck, and it still works effectively. If you haven't seen this film, go and see it. It's available everywhere, probably on YouTube. You probably see it here. Anyway, until next time, goodbye.
In this old castle, death is the youngest thing alive, for it is born and reborn 13 times, each time from a different dementia. A miasma of madness hides the one who delivers death, one who walks with silent tread and strikes with ruthless force. Is it the mother, demented by grief, or the attentive daughter-in-law, whose voice is soothingly hypnotic?
Do tell me. I promise you.
Is it the son, who with fire creates beauty? Or the doctor who can cure and kill? Or perhaps the new bride, tortured by the ever-present nearness of death? Know the frenzy of a wedding night in which a marriage is consummated in a passion of terror. You too will be mesmerized by a world that cannot be, but is. The mystery of the enigmatic leads to a strange rendezvous. An attempted escape, a meeting with terror.